Sunset Acres, a little slice of heaven. The morning sun, still gentle, painted the dewy fields of Sunset Acres in strokes of gold. Lily hummed a tuneless melody as she scattered feed for her chickens, the hens clucking and pecking around her worn boots. She knew each of them by name: Henrietta, Beatrice, even grumpy old Agnes. Sunset Acres wasn't just land, it was a legacy. Her grandfather, a man of few words but endless patience, had carved it out of the rolling hills decades ago. He taught her everything: how to coax life from the stubborn soil, how to mend a fence with baling wire and a prayer, how to listen to the wind and know what the weather held. The old farmhouse, with its peeling paint and creaking porch swing, stood as a testament to his enduring spirit. The scent of honeysuckle climbing the trellis always brought a lump to her throat, a bittersweet mix of memory and longing. She paused, leaning against the weathered wood of the barn. A gentle breeze rustled through the leaves of the ancient oak that stood sentinel over the property, its branches reaching towards the sky like gnarled fingers. Grandfather used to say that tree held the stories of Sunset Acres whispered on the wind. A soft nicker drew her attention. Ginger, her chestnut mare, poked her head over the stall door, her intelligent eyes bright with anticipation. "All right, girl, all right," Lily chuckled, reaching for the saddle. "Time for a ride." As she tightened the cinch, Lily thought of grandfather's calloused hands, the way he'd always made sure the animals came first. She'd sworn to him on his deathbed that she'd keep Sunset Acres alive, a promise that now felt heavier than ever. She patted Ginger's neck, a knot forming in her stomach. The peace of the morning felt fragile, threatened by the storm she knew was brewing. The Queen of Curb Appeal. Patricia Crabtree, self-proclaimed Queen of Curb Appeal, wielded her clipboard like a scepter, its metallic gleam reflecting the harsh morning sun. She surveyed the meticulously manicured lawns of Willow Creek Estates with a practiced eye, a pursed frown her default expression. A single dandelion daring to sprout in Mrs. Henderson's otherwise perfect patch earned a sharp checkmark. The problem wasn't just rogueweeds, though. It was the smell. A distinct, earthy aroma that clung to the air. A fragrant affront to her freshly applied perfume. "Farm smell," she muttered, wrinkling her nose. It wafted, undeniably, from Sunset Acres, Lily Bellwether's establishment. She marched toward the property line, the crunch of gravel under her designer sandals a staccato rhythm of disapproval. A rusty tractor sat proudly in the yard, surrounded by a chaotic symphony of wildflowers. Chickens pecked contentedly, oblivious to the HOA regulations. Lily emerged from the barn, wiping her hands on her denim overalls. "Mornin', Patricia," she said, her voice warm. "Lily," Patricia replied, her tone tight. "We need to talk about the odor." She gestured vaguely toward the barn. "And the aesthetic." Lily raised an eyebrow. "The what now?" Patricia took a deep breath, forcing a saccharine smile. "Sunset Acres is charming, dear, but it doesn't quite align with the community's vision. Property values, you understand." Lily's smile faded. "Sunset Acres was here long before Willow Creek Estates, Patricia. And I intend to keep it that way. A goat's special day." The carrots smelled like sunshine and earth, a scent Lily knew well from countless harvests. Today, though, they weren't for eating straight from the ground. Today, they were for Bartholomew's carrot cake. She grated furiously, the rhythmic rasp a counterpoint to the excited squeals echoing from the barn. 10 years old today, her Bartholomew. Time flew when you were butting heads with a goat. "More streamers, Lily," chirped little Maisie, her face dusted with glitter. Maisie and her gaggle of friends, banished from their video games for an afternoon of wholesome fun, were surprisingly enthusiastic decorators. They'd festooned the barn with ribbons of every color imaginable, transforming it into a psychedelic goat palace. Lily grinned, passing over a roll of sunshine yellow crepe paper. "Make it sparkle, ladies." The goats, initially wary of the sudden influx of color and noise, soon succumbed to temptation. Penelope, a particularly mischievous Nubian, was attempting to eat a string of blue balloons, much to the amusement of the children. Bartholomew, however, remained aloof, perched atop a hay bale, his amber eyes fixed on Lily. The cake, a lumpy, carrot-studded masterpiece, was cooling on the porch. Lily hoped he'd like it. After all, it wasn't every day a goat turned 10. And it definitely wasn't every day they had a party. A party that would, hopefully, distract everyone from the fact that the HOA president's shiny black sedan had been parked at the edge of Sunset Acres for the better part of an hour. Suspicious preparations. Patricia Crabtree's net curtains twitched. From her vantage point, the second-floor window of 14 Willow Creek offered a panoramic view of the unfolding spectacle at Sunset Acres. Yesterday it had been strings of twinkling fairy lights snaking their way through the old oak tree. Today, a veritable army of folding chairs were being unloaded from a truck, the kind usually reserved for outdoor concerts, not quaint backyard barbecues. Unbelievable, she muttered, adjusting her spectacles. She reached for her phone, speed-dialing Brenda. Brenda, darling, you simply won't believe what that woman is doing now. It's a full-blown commercial operation, I tell you. Chairs, lights, and goodness knows what else. Probably serving alcohol without a license. A chorus of gasps erupted from the other end of the line, presumably from Brenda and Marge, who always seemed to be surgically attached to her hip. Patricia painted a vivid picture of Sunset Acres transformed into a gaudy event venue. She envisioned brides in meringue dresses tripping over uneven cobblestones, caterers struggling to navigate the narrow path with trays of hors d'oeuvres, and the cacophony of a live band shattering the peaceful ambience of Sunset Acres. The horror! Someone needs to put a stop to this, Marge chirped, her voice sharp as shattered glass. Patricia puffed out her chest. Don't worry, dears. I have a call to make. This ends now. She imagined herself a beacon of justice, shutting down Lily's illicit enterprise and restoring order to their idyllic neighborhood. The thought brought a grim satisfaction to her face. Curb appeal and the sanctity of Sunset Acres would be preserved. The confrontation. Patricia Crabtree marched across the dew-kissed lawn of Sunset Acres, her floral dress billowing like a storm cloud. The scent of wood smoke and lavender hung heavy in the air, an olfactory assault to her refined sensibilities. She planted herself squarely in front of Lily, who was attempting to string fairy lights around a particularly stubborn oak branch. This spectacle, Mrs. Crabtree sputtered, her voice tight with disapproval, must cease immediately. Lily sighed, securing the light string with a practiced flick of her wrist. Good morning to you too, Patricia. What exactly are you referring to? Don't play coy with me, Lily Bellwether. This illegal event venue. The noise, the cars, the people traipsing all over what was once a perfectly respectable rural landscape. It's a flagrant violation of HOA regulations. Lily straightened, her blue eyes flashing. It's not an illegal event venue, Patricia. It's a party. For Agnes. Mrs. Crabtree's perfectly sculpted eyebrows shot towards the heavens. Agnes? My goat, Lily said, her voice hardening. It's her birthday. And before you start quoting bylaws, I checked. There's nothing about goat birthday parties in the HOA handbook. This is ridiculous. You think you can just flaunt the rules, turning this place into some sort of carnival? The amplified music alone, it's a bluegrass band, Patricia. And Agnes loves bluegrass. Lily stepped closer, her tone dangerously low. This farm is my home. And I'll celebrate my goat's birthday however I damn well please. 911 emergency. Patricia Crabtree stabbed at the buttons on her phone, her finger trembling with indignation. How dare they? Goats here? In Sunset Acres? The audacity. 911, what's your emergency? The operator's voice was calm, a stark contrast to the rising hysteria in Mrs. Crabtree's chest. Yes. I need the police. Immediately. There's a disturbance. Ma'am, can you tell me your location and describe the disturbance? It's 14 Willow Creek Lane. Sunset Acres. They're running some kind of illegal business. Right under our noses. She could see the Bellwether property from her manicured lawn, the rainbow-colored balloons bobbing mockingly in the breeze. She imagined drug deals and gambling dens concealed beneath the veneer of gingham tablecloths and childish laughter. An illegal business, ma'am? Can you specify what type of business? The operator sounded increasingly skeptical. It involves animals. And a crowd of people. It's a complete violation of the HOA regulations. They're probably selling drugs to children. Mrs. Crabtree shrieked, embellishing for emphasis. I demand you send someone now. Meanwhile, oblivious to the impending storm, Lily Bellwether supervised a group of children attempting to pin the tail on a cutout of a particularly grumpy-looking goat. Giggles erupted as a blindfolded Timmy plastered the tail squarely on the goat's forehead. The aroma of freshly baked carrot cake mingled with the earthy scent of hay, creating an atmosphere of pure, innocent joy. Lily smiled, her heart swelling with contentment. This was exactly what Sunset Acres needed. Police at the party. The flashing lights painted the bouncy castle in strobing hues of red and blue. A police cruiser, looking utterly out of place, idled at the edge of the Sunset Acres common, its tires crunching on stray carrot shavings. Lily watched, a half-eaten slice of cake still in her hand, as two officers emerged, their expressions a mixture of bewilderment and apprehension. Patricia Crabtree, arms crossed and face a thundercloud, marched towards them, practically vibrating with indignation. They're running a business. Illegally. Right here, in our community, she shrieked, her voice cracking with hysteria. The officers, a young woman with a tightly wound ponytail and a burly man with a handlebar mustache, exchanged glances. Their eyes swept over the scene, children gleefully bouncing, a picnic table laden with juice boxes, and a trio of goats bleating curiously as they ambled towards the newcomers. Clementine, the birthday goat, nudged the policewoman's leg, sniffing at her shiny boots. "Ma'am," the mustached officer said, his voice a low rumble, "what exactly is going on here?" Patricia sputtered, momentarily silenced by Clementine's audacious greeting. "Goats. They have goats. And they're charging people to pet them. It's a petting zoo. A blatant violation of HOA regulations." Lily sighed, placing her cake on the table. This was going to be a long afternoon. The truth comes out. The bouncy castle deflated with a sorrowful wheeze as two sheriff's deputies approached, their faces grim under the afternoon sun. Lily excused herself from a group of toddlers wielding dripping ice cream cones. "Officers, how can I help you?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tremor in her stomach. Patricia Crabtree, arms crossed and face a thundercloud, stood a few feet away. "Finally, tell them, officer, about the illegal business she's running here. The noise, the disruption." Lily calmly addressed the deputies. "Mrs. Crabtree believes I'm operating without permits. This is Sunset Acres Ranch, my family's property for generations. I occasionally host children's parties. It's all perfectly legal." One of the deputies, a young woman with kind eyes, asked, "Do you have documentation, ma'am?" Lily nodded. "Of course." She led them to the ranch house, retrieved the deeds from a dusty lockbox, and presented them. As the deputy examined the documents, Lily continued, "Mrs. Crabtree has been persistent in her attempts to get me to sell. I've repeatedly declined." Patricia sputtered. "Persistent? I simply offered a fair price. This whole charade, the parties, the noise, it's just devaluing the property. My daughter deserves a perfect wedding, and this ranch would be ideal. You're ruining everything." The words tumbled out, raw and laced with entitlement. The deputy looked up from the deeds, her gaze sharp. The deflated bouncy castle suddenly seemed even sadder. "Sunset Acres forever." Lily watched a gaggle of children chase a miniature donkey, their laughter echoing across Sunset Acres. Banners proclaiming "Happy Birthday, Timmy" flapped gently in the breeze, a cheerful contrast to the storm brewing on the porch. Mrs. Crabtree, her face a tight mask of disapproval, marched towards her. "Lily," she began, her voice sharp enough to curdle milk. "I've been more than generous. My final offer, triple the market value." Lily knelt, offering Timmy a carrot. She straightened, meeting Mrs. Crabtree's gaze. "Sunset Acres isn't for sale, Mrs. Crabtree. Not for any price." The woman's face reddened. "You can't possibly need all this land. And frankly, these events are disruptive." Lily smiled serenely. "Their life. And this land is for living." The next morning, Lily found posters plastered all over town. "Love Sunset Acres." Neighbors were handing out flyers, organizing a petition. Even old Mr. Henderson, usually glued to his television, was sporting a Save Sunset Acres t-shirt. The support was overwhelming. A week later, Mrs. Crabtree's Lexus screeched to a halt at the edge of Lily's property. She rolled down the window, her voice defeated. "Fine," she spat. "Keep your farm. But don't think this is over." Then, with a frustrated sigh, she sped away, leaving a cloud of dust in her wake. That evening, Lily hosted an impromptu celebration. Tables laden with homemade pies and lemonade dotted the lawn. Children danced with the miniature donkeys, their joy a sweet melody against the setting sun. Lily, surrounded by her friends, her animals, and the vibrant tapestry of her community, knew she was exactly where she belonged. Sunset Acres for her was forever.